You know, I want to live some big fancy life in the United States of America and England and Canada and these places as well. But my freedom is so precious, I'm telling you, yo, nothing better than when I start up the barbecue grill and I pour me a nice drink. You know what I say? And then later on when the sun hot and I go down to the beach and breathe in some fresh sea air. Can't do them things in prison. Me granny. Freedom is too precious, people. Listen, this story goes like this, and I'm taking this story from the New York Post, okay? Even though a lot of other Jamaican entities have ran it, but I'm taking it directly from the New York Post, and the New York Post has a follow-up. And the story says that the husband of a top aide to a state assembly speaker, Carl Hastie, was busted at the JFK airport Monday on cocaine trafficking charges, and this is what officials said. Now, I must mind you that this is a Jamaican, okay? Alright, so Orlando Dennis, a 31-year-old truck driver from the Bronx, is accused of conspiring with two baggage handlers at the airport to smuggle 3 kilos of cocaine from a dealer in the Caribbean island of Jamaica, according to federal court papers. Dennis is married to Hastie's chief of staff, Giovanni Brooks Dennis, and was with her at the airport when he was busted by federal agents. The pair had just returned from a trip to Jamaica, sources said. Stick a pin. The smuggling scheme began unraveling last June when the Department of Homeland Security discovered an unclaimed roller bag at a carousel in customs that had come from Jamaica and contained $100,000 worth of cocaine in it. This is what the court documents said. One of Dennis's alleged co-conspirators, Swissport cargo airport employee Ryan Smalling, had failed to notice the bag because, according to the court papers, and they are tracking their phones and text conversations, the boy didn't catch the bag because he was yapping on his phone when the bag arrived on the carousel. This is what is listed in the criminal complaints paperwork. Investigators saw Smalling on surveillance footage, then rushing to the back room and scouring through the bags them frantically in the belt room before leaving empty-handed. So he was yapping on the phone, wasn't paying attention to what he was doing, missed the bag that had the $100,000 worth of cocaine in it, and it was his job to catch that bag. He ran to the back, scoured through the belt, looking for the bag, couldn't find the bag, and hurriedly left the airport. The feds arrested Smalling and another Swissport cargo airport baggage handler, William Brown, in August. They both pleaded guilty to drug importation charges, and they are both out on bail and awaiting to be sentenced. An inspection of their phone records eventually pointed to Dennis, who is the husband of the aide of this high-ranking politician. So, evidence in their phone, the two guys that they caught, evidence in their phone the feds used to catch Dennis, who was in contact with the drug dealers in Jamaica. Identified in the complaint as co-conspirator 2, as well as Smalling, the feds alleged. The criminal complaint added that Dennis threatened Smalling after the dealer falsely told him that Smalling had the drugs. So the drugs get mixed up. They can't find the drugs. One man has said next man have it. The next man threatening to kill the next man. During Monday's arraignment, U.S. Attorney Jonathan Siegel provided a text message of Smalling allegedly telling Dennis this: "You are threatening to kill me. You can threaten to kill me all you want. I don't have the drugs." Under questions from agents, Dennis admitted that he knew co-conspirator 2 in Jamaica was a cocaine and weed trafficker, and he sent him some money on the day the luggage arrived at JFK. Dennis also admitted to federal agents that Brown told him that he sent a bag to the U.S. from Jamaica at that time, and he knew the luggage was involved in some kind of illegality. This is what he told the cops, This is what he told the feds. I know the big drug dealer in Jamaica, right? I know say him transport cocaine and I know say him transport ganja. But I wasn't buying no cocaine and ganja from him. But paperwork from the feds, which they pressed him with. So how come you sent him this amount of money? He said, yes, I admit to sending him that amount of money, but it wasn't for the drugs. Right? Dennis also admitted to federal agents that Brown told him he sent a bag to the U.S. from Jamaica at the time, and he knew the luggage was involved in some kind of illegality, but he denied knowing what was in the bag. So he said, yeah, the drug, me know say send a bag, the bag, it some kind of illegality are going with the bag, but I don't know what was really in the bag still. So he's being smart, because all he's done so far is me send money to a man, them send a bag, the bag wasn't addressed to me. I know about the bag coming, but I don't know what's in the bag, right? I don't know if playing dumb is going to save him from prison. Anyhow, Dennis pled not guilty in Brooklyn federal court Monday evening and was released on $150,000 bond. Remember, the two people, the two airport workers who were seen on camera scouring the place looking for the bag and then leaving frantically when they missed the bag, and the feds also seeing that bag because they have a picture of it going around on the carousel and this man yapping on the phone and didn't find the bag. I wonder who catch the bag though. Somebody picked up a bag with $100,000 worth of cocaine. That's a whole nother video. But let's keep on talking about this. Those two guys have already been arrested. They already spoke to the feds. They already got out on bail. And it was through their phone records that they were able to get to Dennis. So I think so them man, they already pled guilty and told the feds what they have to tell the feds. And they are now awaiting sentencing. Okay? He, however, Dennis, the husband of the aide to the high-ranking politician, he, however, went to court and pled not guilty. He pled not guilty in a Brooklyn federal court Monday evening, and he was released on $150,000 bond. He is subject to GPS location monitoring, cell phone monitoring, and a curfew. GPS location monitoring, that means he's wearing an ankle bracelet somewhere. Can't go anywhere because they can literally look at the screen and say, okay, he's in the kitchen now. All right, he's going into the bathroom now. He spent 30 minutes in the bathroom. Now he's leaving the residence. He is at the shop that's next door to his house. He is heading into a car, a moving vehicle heading blah, blah, blah. They know every single movement of him. He is subject to a GPS location monitoring. He is subject to cell phone monitoring. So not even his calls are anymore private. Not like we have private calls anyways. His calls are no longer private. He is known now. It is known now that his cell phone is monitored. And he has a curfew. So he has to be at a certain location, address of record, by a certain time, and has to be there from this hour to this hour according to paperwork. Magistrate Judge Lois Bloom warned Dennis against breaking the law while he is out on bail. He said, "You have to understand that your wife has a very accomplished job. Unfortunately for her, this is going to have ramifications for her career," she said. His wife, who made $138,482 last year alone, declined to comment. Hesty office referred questions to Dennis Brooks' lawyer, because everybody's been calling this politician's office, "Hey man, we heard that your top aide, her husband, Jamaican, and she's Jamaican too. They just got back from Jamaica and they got busted. Where's the bag with the $100,000 worth of cocaine in it? Were you involved in it, Mr. Hasty?" And he was like, "Listen, speak to Dennis Brooks' lawyer, which is Calvin Scholar. Don't speak to me. I have nothing to do with that." And the lawyer said that Dennis Brooks had nothing to do with that case. Okay, he is just caught up, and it is just an opportunity. Wrong person, wrong place, wrong time. Boy, I don't know if that go fly in a court, you know. So somebody says, "So Flo, go over to Pinkwall, go look on the comment them and see what are going in over there." So I went over to there and I looked at the comment them and I was seeing what are going in at the comment section, and the comment section said things like this. One person said, "No one beats the feds. Dennis, I suggest you start selling your properties in New York and start investing in Jamaica, because I am confident that you will be charged. And once the feds hit those charges, there's no way you can win them, especially if they have a 12-member jury. Remember, the state doesn't like to lose, and so does the feds. Take heedings, please, and thank you in advance," somebody wrote. Another person wrote back, "You may not be able to beat them, but they can be beaten when intelligence and money are spent." Living testament to that. You know, on social media, everybody beat the feds already, and they're rich and famous, and you just don't know them, and they own many properties. Everybody is well accomplished and who are not bad man and have the most bodies and do the most, and then you see them in life and nothing goes so. Okay? The feds has a very high conviction rate. Basically, when they put hands on you, you are better off copping a plea deal that they have or something, because if you take them to trial, they're going to make an example out of you. I don't know anybody personally, but I know of very few cases that actually, in cases like these, took them to trial and actually beat it completely, right? So another person said, "Then I saw for social life did sad that she end up a marry a low-life thug." Boy, it looks salty upon her, because she was actually at the airport with him when he was picked up by the feds. So they could have easily leveled charges against her as well and said, she and him, and they both just came back from Jamaica. So it could have been, if the feds wanted to be nasty, they could have been like, aid to high-end politician in the U.S., her and her fiance running a drug ring, took a trip to Jamaica to negotiate drug deals, came back from Jamaica and was supposed to pick the drugs up, and we caught them both at the airport. She was with him. She was with him in Jamaica. She came back from Jamaica. She was with him at the airport when he was arrested. All this other stuff. So you see what I'm saying? They could have if they wanted to. I can't help but to think that because of her accomplishments and because of links and connections, that she has been spared to some degree. Because think about it. They really could have been nasty if they wanted to be, right? So somebody said, "Oh, Gigi, let this fellow go. You can still join the church like your cousin Dominique, who is flourishing, and get yourself a respectable husband. You don't need this guy to jeopardize your career and the custody of your child if any items are found in your marital home." And somebody replied to that and said, "Well, for better or for worse. That's what marriage is supposed to be about." Somebody said, "Disrespectful and damn greedy with a wife in a high profile position like that. Are them finances not too good? Will she value her career over him and their marriage? Let's see." Now, I'll take this opportunity right now to send you over to Brainflow TV. BRAINFLO TV. That's my second channel on YouTube. And you can actually go there and see a story that I did where I spoke about this very accomplished real estate agent, and she was only 27 years old and managing huge properties and doing her thing. And basically her life came to an end because of her wannabe rapper boyfriend, who was a rapper, right? He's in the music industry. He's in the thug life, street life. They're just from two different worlds. And I spoke about how these accomplished females go through all this schooling and go through all this education and go through the ranks of rising and get themselves a solid foot in, and then turn around and pick up somebody who is from totally different, you know what I mean, background or ranks in life then. And it end up costing them. Now for her, it hasn't cost her yet, but I can't help but to think that it will cost her at some level. Now there are people saying that she knew he was selling drugs. Like, come on. They don't drive cheap cars and they don't wear cheap clothes. He always flossing in the parties like same as a rich man. It makes sense now that he's actually a cocaine seller. Laugh out loud. And then someone else replied and said she definitely knows. And she's enjoying the benefits of the drug trafficking. She knows how much a truck driver makes, and her income, which is not so great, as the chief of staff of the New York State Assembly. Now, let me tell you something. $130,000 income in a state like Florida, especially if you live in the backwoods of Florida, then you're making a whole lot of money. $130,000 in, say, New York, especially mid-city New York or even upper state New York, you're barely making income. You know what I'm saying? And then her man is a truck driver. And we know how he's a delivery truck driver, not even a long distance over the road truck driver who gets paid way more. He's a round town delivery truck driver. Now some people are saying, boy, I'm just a play it wise still, you know, stay under the radar, get a 9 to 5. You're a truck driver, but your real income comes from a connection between your wife's income and your dope drug money. But check it. Why would he be in the parties like this? Cause people send me SoFlo TV the videos, you know, and I'm sure other people have them out there. And he's out there putting them brick on DJ laptop, and I talk about money pull up that tune there again, and wrapping up money and flinging it out in the crowd, and a rundown man in a party and beat them with SSP and expensive champagnes and stuff like that, right? So that's not living under the radar. Sometimes when you see people living a certain way, don't grudge them for them lifestyle. That's what I keep on. That's why you hear me wake up and say, morning thoughts, morning thoughts, morning thoughts. Shout out to my people going out to work. Shout out to my people coming in from work. Extra special big up shout out to all my people, especially the ones who work 2 jobs. I have a special place in my heart and mind for these people, because you're not robbing nobody, you're not selling no drugs, and you're not selling no body parts to get there, to get the things you need in life. You prefer really sacrifice sleep and go work 2 full-time jobs to get what you need in life. And that's the reason why I say these things, okay? Because nice car, you see people with them brand new Jaguar and them brand new Benz, and them laugh after your thing and say, all car that man, you know, say you need an upgrade. And what kind of clothes that you have on, dog? You know, I know Versace that, I'm sure you're expensive. See my red bottoms them and this and that. Don't watch them. When you in the party and you can only buy a 1 bottle, you're upgraded from someone who can only buy a cup. Maybe the person who's buying the cup owns their house and it's fully paid off. And you that they buy a bottle just to feel good for the night, but you still grudging the person in front of you who buy 20 of the same bottles that you just bought, and it's not to drink. Is for pour it over the head of a brethren because of them birthday. People who earn their money honestly don't do them kind of things there. You're not no super athlete in the US, NBA or NFL, so your salary is not in the hundreds of thousands or millions, right? And you're a truck driver, and this is the lifestyle you live in, Remember Flipper Mafia? Alright. We need to start learning from each other's examples, bad or good. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyhow, as far as this go, someone says, as she give him papers, effing greedy, go yard for Christmas, left him wife, or must someone call him name. They must all following him down there. He had an organization, and that judge has said to Ross, she going to lose her Ross job. That's what someone is saying, and we don't know about all that. We're just going to have to wait to see. Let me read the last comment. The last comment said, but investigator found the woman whose name was on the tag. She was cleared of any wrongdoing when her actual bag was found at the airport later that night. They checked in drugs under a friend of mine named in Montego Bay because she had no check-in luggage, only a carry-on bag. After her destination, 2 pieces of luggage was unclaimed and kept going around and around on the carousel. And when they were searched, it contained a large amount of cocaine. They let it through to go to another area of the airport. And would you know, is the 2 people show up to claim the luggage and they were both arrested. So after 3-4 months later, the feds showed up at her door inquiring about her knowledge of those 2 suitcases. She told them that she did not check in any luggage and they more or less knew what happened. Bottom line, 1 or more of those ticket agents at the airport checked in those baggages under her name when they realized that she did not check in any luggage. Those 2 pieces of luggage were supposed to be intercepted by baggage handlers who are working with the drug ring, and they did not know. They freaked up and didn't catch it. Those 2 pieces of luggage contained the large amounts of cocaine, not no 3.5 kilo. In this case, the lady checked in luggage and they did use her name to check in the luggage with the drugs. Blows and skirt. This gets really deep. Wow. Somebody said this boy is a plumb fool. You don't know anyone surprised that Gigi picked him up. She been on the New York dancehall scene from how long now? I'm not surprised that him a move so careless. Knowing the ramifications of her career, I had no idea Gigi have a big job like that now. Wow. Alright, sir. So she's a dancehall scene girl and nobody knew that she was stepping up in life in these kinds of ways. But the chicken has come home to roost. Alright, and everything secret bust out here now. Leave your comments in the comment section below and tell me what you think about this one, people. It's SoFlo TV. On the walk good here, and I'm gonna say this to you again. On the top embarrass Jamaica all over the place because when time the hard-working, tax-paying citizens like myself want to go somewhere and them start look upon we like say we are thief and criminals and search we up upside down, all turn we upside down, hold we ankle and want shake out the pockets them because them feel like say we have drugs strapped to our body and these things. Wanna stop it? I'm gonna look work. You understand? The rest of we out here, we looking work. And we're working very hard. On the now, make it no better for we. Leave your comments in the comment section below. I'm out. Peace.